Hello, everyone. Welcome into my stream tonight. Hello, Tom. Nice to see you and or Kate. Uh, for my stream tonight, I want to thank Water Lily for coming in and giving me a lurk. And I decided to. I've been having a lot of people. Well, first of all, I'm Hedgie, and I am a home cook. And I am going to be cooking a beef noodle skillet casserole for you tonight. And I've been recently having a lot of people ask me as I'm bopping around different streams. They've been asking me, do I know any reasonably well balanced, uh, inexpensive type of food that they can make that they don't have to cook every night and that they will have it's easy. It's not anything really complicated. It's not going to get their entire kitchen dirty. And, people who are out there working and, coming home and either having to cook for themselves and want to have several nights of food, or they are cooking for their family and don't have a lot of time to do it. And what with the way everything has been rising in prices lately, I mean, if you look at the cost of eggs, 5 years ago, we used to be able to buy a case of 60 eggs for about $7.50, and now it's almost $14. So they've almost doubled, and that's just been in the last year. Um, so everybody's kind of money conscious. I mean, inflation has gone up, the price of everything has gone up, with the gas prices going up. All of the cost of shipping has gone up and it's affected the prices of everything. And, our wages have not gone up to match. So money is getting to be a bigger and bigger issue for people. And so I'm going to focus less on the more luxury kind of items. And I'm going to start cooking some more um, I guess, budget conscious. So this is a hamburger casserole. It's really easy to cook. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef here, and you can get ground beef as low as $2.99 a pound, depending on if you buy it in bulk. And so, this is about $6 worth of hamburger here. And I have got two 1 pound packages of um, penne pasta, and those are a little under $1 a piece. So right now we're at $8, and this is going to call for some beef broth, and that's $1.32 for 32 ounces of it. And then I've got some frozen peas and some mushrooms, an onion, and a little bit of flour and some spices. And so what you're looking at here, oh no, Pink Pig must come out. And everybody's favorite Pink Pig. Pig. What's that, honey? Okay. Anyway, so I've got roughly $6 here and $1.50 with this. A little over $1, well, but maybe $2 in mushrooms. So that's $9, $10. And then you're looking at, an onion, probably around another dollar. So you're looking at $11, and this is probably going to be 10 to 12 servings when you're done. So you're looking at about $1 a serving. That's not bad. Um, so we're going to get started here. I have got the hamburger in my electric skillet here, and I am turning that up to about 275. And I will start by breaking it up. And yeah, I always buy hamburgers and meat when I can in a bulk package, just because it's just you get money off. I mean, when you're looking at the prices of things, pay attention to the per ounce price. And, maybe you only want a pound of hamburger, but, a pound of hamburger is going to be the highest price for their packaging. And, it may cost, you know, some of the things you can see when you're looking at the prices, not this, but when you're looking at it, it may say it's 26 cents for per ounce of a juice product when you buy it in a large container, like a 64-ounce bottle of like cranberry juice. And if you buy it in the smaller 10-ounce bottle, you're looking at almost twice the price. So for the convenience of having a single serving container, you're paying almost twice the money. New follow. Thank you for the follow, doctoral nurse. Um, And I've also got Arena Loves Blueberry. That's a new follow. I don't know if they just followed. Oh, that was 6 days ago. Well, it's still a new follow. So I will thank Doctoral Nurse for her follow, or his follow, whichever, and welcome in. So some of your shopping is going to be, it's to help save money. So you buy bigger packages sauce, and you freeze what you don't use right away. Yeah. And I regularly buy hamburger in at least 5-pound packages, if not 10. And then we package it up and freeze the rest so that it's in 2-pound packages. And when we want it, we can pull it out. And so we get the best possible price for the product. And that's a very good way of saving some money. And for instance, I love sweet onions. They have less of that onion burn when you cut them that you're familiar with if you've ever cut an onion. And they also have a sweeter taste. And kind of like the difference between a onion that has just been lightly fried versus an onion that has been actually caramelized down, that the sugars are released, it caramelizes and it picks up a sweet taste. The sweet onions actually have a sweeter taste to start with. So if you ever need a milder onion, try to find a sweet onion. And it doesn't matter what variety. It could be Walla Walla sweet if you're in Washington State where they grow them. Could be the Vidalia sweet. That's another one that's extremely popular across the country. And there's a variety of different ones you can do. If you like a sharp onion, more power to you. I grew up with the sweet onions. It's the taste that I like in my food, so we use sweet onions. And if you're in another country, you probably don't have them. My husband is from England, and he never heard of them before he came here. So, and I have actually talked to some chefs I know in England, and they've never heard of them either. They just don't grow them. So I guess it's an American thing. But I like the onions. They tend to be a little more expensive than your standard white or yellow onion. But if you buy them in a bag, even just, they're like $1 a pound. If you buy them singly, you can buy a 3-pound bag for, or a 5-pound bag for about $3.50, $4. So you're getting a little bit of a savings there too. And all these little savings will add up. So, shop the sales when you have your flyers and things like this. When you see that it says that chicken breast is on sale for $1.99 a pound, go there and buy a couple pounds and stick them away and freeze them. That's how you get a better price when the standard price is anywhere between $2.99 and $3.99 a pound. And so all those little things will add up over the course of a meal. Um, and then it's just a matter of how you combine it all. So I'm going to get that off of there. Hey, Frogman! How are you doing, man? Welcome in. It's awesome to see you. You finally caught one of my streams instead of just talking to me in other people's streams about food. Um, Frogman has some pretty awesome recipe ideas himself. I find him a lot in the Long Dark community, and uh, he's pretty often there, and we end up usually talking about food. What did you do last night, Frogman? I'm just going to dice this sweet onion, and for some reason this knife seems a little dull. Been using it a lot recently, so. But I only have to cut up this, so that's not bad. I do talk about food all day, and anybody who's ever been in a stream with me that's not my own knows I talk about food almost as much. Thank you. And I often go into other people's streams and end up making people hungry, and quite frankly, I find that amusing. So it's not likely I'm going to stop. I started to become food obsessed when I started trying to find recipes that were lost in our family, and it just became an obsession. Looking up recipes, trying to find new ways to combine them, trying to duplicate recipes that I remembered from my childhood. So I do talk a lot about food, and I love cooking. There is a culture, it's often said in the Italian culture that cooking for someone is a gesture of love, and that's pretty much how it was in my family. I mean, if you loved somebody, you cooked for them, and that providing them with the food that they loved was a love language. Make sure they have enough, make sure they have their favorite things, and that's just what we did. Oh, yeah. Chili relleno is a really nice uh, Mexican recipe. If you've never had it before, it is a whole chili. I believe they're Anaheims, and you clean them out and you stuff them with cheese, and they're usually battered as well. And they have a sauce. Oh, they're lovely. The chili is not a hot chili, so it's not like you're eating even something as hot as a jalapeno. It's warm, but it's not spicy. You can make it that way, but it's not inherently a very spicy dish, and it's a lovely Mexican dish. And Mexican food for me is not something that my father really enjoyed. So we didn't often have it in my family. As a matter of fact, what we had was tacos. That's it. And that was maybe a couple times a year. And one of those times a year was because I always chose it to be my birthday dinner. So it's always been a comfort food for me. And strangely, something that is associated with the Christmas holiday, because my birthday is December 19th. So that is just something that's always been. Um, yeah, a German background is another one. Oh, you use poblanos? Oh, that sounds wonderful, Frogman. It really does. Poblanos is another chili that's not generally registered as something that is scorching hot. It is a warm chili because, well, it's a chili, and uh, but it's a nice level of heat, and it's just nice. Um, and then stuffing it with cheese. Oh, cheese and chilies go so good together. And then when you stuff it and you roast the thing with the cheese inside of it, and it just goes all molten. Oh, just lovely. Probably not something I'm going to cook here because I'd have to eat it only because Andrew just doesn't like heat. So uh, I've got an onion here with this, and I am so far just browning the meat, and I'm trying to keep it in larger chunks because I tend not to use uh, hamburger as kind of that really fine dice that you get in it if you chop it excessively. Um, my father and brother and most of the men I've ever cooked for in my life, cousins, uncles, grandfather, boyfriends, they've all liked to have a bite of meat instead of just kind of like a meat sauce that has a fine ground meat in it. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Is there anything better than the smell of frying onions, really? And to this, I am going to add AFC, my husband says. He's right there. That's pretty good, too. I am going to add some ground sea salt. And this is probably probably about a quarter of a teaspoon. I don't tend to use a lot of salt. Garlic. Yeah, we know about me and garlic, though. So I've got some salt in there, and then I am going to add some rosemary that I grind myself. And this recipe will be up in my Discord, in my stream recipes, soon. I'm not going to say right after stream because I haven't been too good about that lately. I've been sick, and it's kind of slowed everything down. This is about quarter teaspoon of ground rosemary, and I just put it. I bought this set of spice grinders, basically salt and pepper mill, with a third mill that I always grind my rosemary, and it just seemed like such a great idea to put it in that, and it's been lovely. Command garlic. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't just say I'm a vampire. This is going to be about a teaspoon of ground sage. And I go back and forth with what's on sale. Sometimes I use rubbed sage, sometimes I use ground sage. Um, but it's really just a difference of how big the bits of sage are. I prefer rubbed sage in a lot of things like stuffing, but really the flavor's the same. So it's sage is sage. And this is a tablespoon of parsley, which I feel makes the dish most dishes pretty, and I like the herbaceous flavor of it. So I am going to cook this until the hamburger is done all the way, and we also have the onions translucent. I normally use ground chuck because I prefer the flavor, but this was on sale. It's not ground chuck. It's actually leaner than that. So it's not actually going to need to be drained or have the extra fat removed. And I'm going to be making a pan gravy for this. Now, normally I would be adding a pound of sliced mushrooms to this that are fresh mushrooms, but our fresh mushrooms right now in our store near us that we shop at, they don't look good. So I've been using canned. It adds up more in the sodium, which is another reason to restrict the sodium I use when I'm cooking. And I am going to add the mushrooms into here now too so that they can pick up the flavors of the herbs and the onions and add their own flavors to the dish. Now, you can serve this when I'm done as is. It's going to have a vegetable in it. You can even add more than one if you like. In the past, I sort of made this one up as an easy thing to make when Andrew and I were down in Oregon living in a hotel that had a kitchenette, but it had a two-burner cooktop and that's it. It didn't have an oven to it, so it kind of restricted what we could cook there. And so we brought a skillet down, and I started creating these different skillet meals. And um, it was just easy to make, and it was just so much easier to deal with this than to try to figure out endlessly fried things. And although this is sautéed, it ends up being a casserole that had to be cooked stovetop or in the skillet rather than finished in the oven. And I didn't want to have a lot of fuss because I was working usually 10 to 12-hour days. And I would come home and I would cook. And I didn't want it to take forever. We were on a tight budget because living in a hotel is never cheap. It was, however, cheaper than the costs of uh, breaking leases when my contracts ended. So, um, uh, I found ways to work the vegetables in, and you could leave it at that. This is going to have peas in it. You could put in broccoli. Broccoli's good. Cauliflower is excellent as well. Um, I even like it with Brussels sprouts in it, but since my husband finds Brussels sprouts to be abominable, I don't put Brussels sprouts in things because he absolutely hates them. Teaching simple meals for single people is good, and I'm so happy to hear that you're actually teaching him bachelor cooking because there's so many people that don't teach their children cooking, and that kind of leaves their kids stranded. Yep. Um, you don't take the time to cook for your family. You don't take the time to make your children help you and make it fun for them so that they learn to cook basic things. Fry an egg, cook a hamburger, put a steak or a chicken in the oven to bake. How to cook a basic vegetable. And you've got these young adults now that are out there trying to live on their own, and they don't know how to clean a house. They don't know how to cook, and it's not really something you want to do. That's just kind of bad. And this is probably going to be a pretty short stream because, like I said, this is an economical dish that doesn't take a lot of time to come together. Um, you could easily half this if you're only one person, or if you want to have uh, a meal for several nights running, or if you want to put it away into freezer containers and make your own kind of TV dinners. That's excellent. We fill our freezer regularly that way. I am going to, at this point, start making the gravy, and I make it right in this pot. Uh, I am going to start with a 32 ounces of beef broth. I have managed to find a brand that does not use garlic, so it is actually safe for hedge pig consumption. And because this is going to be combined with pasta, the 32 ounces is appropriate. It's going to make a lot of gravy, but I've got a lot of pasta. So that's good. And while that is coming up to heat, that is the best time to add flour. Now, if you want to, There is nothing wrong with taking and whisking the flour in a separate container with the broth, and then from there adding it to your casserole here. Or you could do what I'm going to do here, and I just sort of sprinkle the flour over the top. And then I just make sure that I move it in before I mix it around and stir it in before it starts making dumplings. If you leave it there too long, it will. It will actually boil the flour, and you'll have some very plain dumplings. This is not wanting to dig its way in. And then I'm just going to stir this around in here. And you need to cook gravy for a while to get the flour taste out. You need to, in essence, cook the flour. And it's a simple thought. If you don't, you're going to taste what tastes like raw flour, like raw dough, in anything that you're trying to thicken with that gravy. It just tastes nasty. So you'll know the difference. And if you have that flour taste in it still, even though it's thickened, you just need to add some water to it to thin it a little bit and let it boil and simmer for a little while longer, another couple minutes, and you'll be there. So I've now got the flour actually mixed in, and it will start thickening very soon. I can actually already see it thickening. And to this, I am going to add about a cup of sweet peas that are frozen. Like I said, there's a lot of different vegetables you could add. You could add the winter mix, which is broccoli and cauliflower, to it if you like it. They have a mix called a Normandy mix, which adds carrots to that. Go ahead. And serving this as is as a one-dish meal, or adding a tossed salad to it, is also very good. And as you can see, this is actually already thickening into a nice gravy. It's still white appearing, which means the flour isn't cooked. And I am going to actually have to add some water to this, which is fine. I have got water here in some of my merchandise. This is my Giggling Hedge Pig 18-ounce double-walled steel water bottle for drinking. And it has a nice thermal lid here, like you'd find on some of the high-end thermoses. And it keeps your liquids cold for, up to about 12 hours. And I'm going to add about a cup of water to that because it needs to continue cooking for a while. And that is available at www.cookingwithhedgepigs.com, where all of my merchandise is available. I have cups and glasses. I have that bottle. I have shirts and hoodies and a throw blanket. You ever want to have a giggle, go ahead and go take a look at it. They are print on demand, basically, so they are created when you buy them. When you put the order through, it takes them a couple days to make it, and they ship it out. It's a reasonable length of time. They're very well packaged, and everything that I have done a test order of them with has been really nice quality. So exactly, that's exactly how you do it. Learning to cook recently is an excellent idea, and it's fun to cook as a family. It's fun to cook with another person. I mean, my cousin and I cooked for years together a couple times a week and filled her freezer and mine with excellent quality homemade foods that we just portioned up into individual packages and individual freezer packages. And we would then have turkey dinner with turkey and stuffing and gravy for, you know, months after the Thanksgiving turkeys went on sale for 25 cents a pound. And that's another way to save money. You know, you may get a little turkey at Thanksgiving. Wait till they come on sale after Thanksgiving, and especially if you have a chest freezer and you have the freezer space available, buy a couple turkeys at 25 cents a pound. It happens, and when you see things like that, pounce on it. That's how you really get to save a lot of money. Exactly. Even in the middle of summer, you can find one. Walmart has good sales. I mean, I know people hate on Walmart for, you know, having all these excellent prices that drive competing stores, you know, out of business basically, but in this kind of economy, it is to your benefit. So, I've got that all stirred again, and I am going to taste the gravy just to see what the kind of seasoning is like. Actually, it's pretty dead on. Needs a little bit more salt, but that's about it. Yep, that is pretty much how I was raised to do the shopping too, Frogman. My grandmother, they got the money in once a month. I added about another eighth to a quarter teaspoon of salt there. And they would go and they would buy things when they were on sale. Every time the flyers came in, she'd go through them, find out where all the sales were, and she would buy chicken at one store and beef at another when she was buying beef, and then they started living at a farm where they grew their own, so they didn't have to do that. But anything that was on sale in those ads, she would buy them when they were on sale and throw them in the big freezer. And that's a way to save money. Did you just see our power flicker, honey? Okay, just this room then. All right. Now, this gravy does not taste like flour. It is actually done. And now I am going to get my husband to come in here and help me transfer this in top of the noodles with a ladle. Yeah, our family still has a farm that we do beef on, so we can get beef at, well, basically free. Um, Let me get that closer and turn the handle away. And this is a 7-quart uh, Cuisinart hard anodized stock pot. They don't make a bigger one. No, it doesn't mean I don't want a bigger one, and I would love a bigger one, even though this makes so much food. I'm going to unplug this so that when the time comes, he can actually just pick it up and pour it in there. Lots of times when we do this, we'll have a package of peas and carrots, and we'll add that in there, or we will use um, corn in it as well, because that's nice and tasty. It's just whatever um, vegetables that we have that are handy that we've bought, and we generally have a big bag of frozen corn and a big bag of frozen peas available to us. Um, and sometimes broccoli. Oh, I'm gonna just pick it up and dump it. Make sure we get all the lovely gravy in here. And there we go. Going to keep this here and use my nice rigid pasta fork here to give this a stir and combine it all. And we use the pasta that we choose for it to extend the food so that it is, makes more, basically. And it's lovely to make 2 pounds of hamburger, but you can have that gone in, just a couple meals. If you extend it with noodles, which is why casseroles came about, they were something to extend your either first run things like this or tuna casserole. It extends the food out and makes it so it lasts longer. So this is 2 pounds of pasta with 2 pounds of meat, an onion, a pound of mushrooms, and it has uh, a sweet onion in it, gravy, and like I said, this is about $11 worth of ingredients. And out of that $11, you have, oh, if you're being very generous in your servings, 8 to 10 servings out of this. This is half of my largest stock pot full of food now. And we will take and eat this for several days and probably end up freezing a couple at least so that we can come back to it when we want it. So I am going to, and you could actually make this with slight variations, such as you could take and add a cup of milk to this when you're making the gravy. So what you have is a creamy gravy. You could add some Parmesan cheese to it, so you've got a cheesy beef gravy. There's a lot of different variations you can do to change up how it tastes. And if you're going to add something like broccoli to this, then adding something like a Parmesan cheese to it would be very, very flavorful and a good variation. This is one of my quicker streams. It's only been about 45 minutes, and I spent quite a bit of time talking to y'all. So, okay, I'm going to send this away for my husband to photograph it. But I'll lift up the picture here for you so that you can see it. There we go. It's a gravy that is coating all of the pasta, but it is not swimming in it. It gives it moisture, it gives it flavor, and it really is good. And you can add more sage to it if you like sage. Add fresh rosemary to it if you want more rosemary present and forward. And it's just simple food that's a little over $1 a serving. And it's a great way to economize. So I am going to now take a test bite here for you all. Because at the moment I can actually eat meat. So I am going to take some pasta and some meat in this, and I can actually spear it because it is large enough pieces. So here's the bite. Sorry, bit of a coughing fit there. Hold on. That has a nice beefy flavor to it. Sorry. Has a nice beefy flavor to it. The gravy is well seasoned. You can taste the sage in the meat. You can taste the hint of rosemary in there. The peas, because they aren't massively boiled, by putting them in the gravy when I did, it heated them up, but it didn't actually boil them. So you still have the sweetness from the peas, and the onions are have a sweet taste to them as if they've been caramelized. And the noodles, of course, they're a nice hearty noodle. I chose penne. Another one I like to use in dishes like this are rotini pasta. I've used bow tie pasta or farfalle as well. I like a more substantial noodle than um, I like a more substantial one than if I was to have an egg noodle in it, because egg noodles are very fine. And I just think these stand up, especially to a multiple heating. So you have this, you put it in the freezer, you microwave it. These are going to stand up better than an egg noodle will. And I want to thank our new arrivals. I want to thank Frogman for coming in and our new follow. And I am going to raid out now to a friend of mine named a Rubik's Cube. And he is streaming Hogwarts Legacy. He is an actor and a dancer and entertainer. So it's Worcestershire sauce. He's boisterous and loud and happy, and he's a wonderful, caring man, and his community is absolutely top-notch. So, thank you for the follow, Frogman. I appreciate that as well. And for Doctoral Nurse, thank you for your follow. And all of those who followed me since my last stream, I very much appreciate you. And I will be coming back probably next Wednesday, and I'll cook something else that's economical and tasty and a lovely family dinner you can teach to your children and your friends, and will store just as well as it cooks easily. Please stick around for the raid. You'll enjoy Rubik's Cube if you give him a chance.